One of the best parts of this event, in addition to just how beautiful the room is and that holiday ambiance for me, is always sharing an impact story from one of our survivors to really illustrate the impact that ABF has and those services that we mentioned already and how important they are. For most of us in the room, we may never know what a critical burn injury is like, thankfully. But for those that do experience burn injury, ABF performs such vital services and support throughout their journey. And it's my extreme honor to share Hitaxi's story with you this evening. Please take a look.
Hi, I'm Hitaxi Mistry and I'm a burn survivor. The place I was born in India is Palanpur, that's in Gujarat state. And the weather is almost similar to Arizona. In my family, I'm just the only child and my parents are super supportive. Growing up, I was a very studious girl, very intelligent girl, and I was take all the notes, complete the homework before deadline, help everyone with the homework and stuff, and I was athletic too. I was 23 years old when I came first to United States. I wasn't nervous, I was really excited because it was a new journey for me, and it really hit me when I was at the airport and I was alone with my all the stuff, checking luggages, and I was like, oh, I don't have my parents here. I don't have my childhood friends here. That's when it really hit me. But as soon as I stepped into my new dorm room and I met my friends, I was like, it's gonna be good. I have my friends here. The community where I lived around the ASU was full of the Indian students, so that felt like a home to me. So I could reach out to them because I could just knock at any door and ask them to hang out with us. It was really good, challenging and innovative experience for me. It was November 4th and it's Diwali, that's the biggest festival in India, and that's when we light the diyas or the candles everywhere around the house, thinking God is coming into our houses to bless us, and that's when we welcome them through the paintings and have sweets with our friends, have good food. I wore a gown, something like this, and then we were in the patio clicking pictures, and I didn't know there was a candle nearby, and we were just friends hanging out, and somehow there was my dress caught on fire. Someone screamed. The moment I saw that my dress was on fire, I just ran around the apartment crying for help, and I was panicking and I wasn't sure what to do. So, because at the time I couldn't think much. Someone spoke go into the shower, go into the shower, and that's when I went there. Otherwise I wouldn't have gone and I wouldn't have survived. So we didn't call 911. I didn't think the burns were that severe. A friend took a car and we just went to the nearby hospital, and that's when the doctors diagnosed that it was severe burns and I need to go to the another hospital, and they called the ambulance, and that's when I just passed out and I don't remember.
Now, for those of you who have been here before, you're going, and then what, right? We normally tell you the whole story. And there's a reason that we're going to tell you Hitaxi's story in pieces this evening. And it's because Hitaxi doesn't remember critical pieces of her story. You heard her say that her friends didn't think the burns were that severe. She didn't either. She hopped in the shower to cool down her body and put the burns out, and then they went via car to the emergency room. What they didn't realize at that time was that Hitaxi was burned on 72% of her body, most of which were third-degree burns, many of which were third-degree burns. And when she talks about passing out, she was in a coma for several months following. Now, many of us in this room right now are parents. And so for a minute, I'd like you to think about not Hitaxi, but her family. Half a world away. You heard her say in that first video how supportive her parents were of her dream to come study here at ASU. But a mother's intuition never lies. And after not hearing from her for a couple of days, her mother reached out to her roommates and only then learned of the severity of Hitaxi's injuries. and thus begun a long journey, not just for Hitaxi, but also for her parents. Because in addition to learning medical jargon and the things that a burn survivor family would be going through normally, they were dealing with a 12-and-a-half-hour time difference in India, language barriers, and working to get a visa to come here and be at her bedside. Let's take a look at the next part of their story.
After passing out in the ambulance, I remember waking up around April 2022. That's when I knew, like, okay, I survived, my parents are here, and I assumed I was in a hospital because everything was just machines and the nurses nearby. And that's when I opened my eyes and gained conscience. My parents are my support system, and that was a really good relief that they were here. I wasn't sure, like, I was in India or they were in the United States. But when I heard they are in the United States, I didn't think about my injury and stuff. I was just excited to see them here, and they were almost crying because I was awake after going through so much, and they have been through a lot more, I guess, than I have been through, because from the time when they got a call in India to coming here in a month, the good thing is they were so strong and so firm for me, and they gave me all the courage I needed, and they were here for almost 2 years, living everything in India and just for my dream. So it's a lot. I'm so grateful for them. During my stay in the hospital at Valleywise Health, I don't know anything, and I honestly thank God for the ignorance, because it is a bliss for me. But I have heard stories from my friends, from my parents, from the healthcare community at Valleywise Health, and some of the forms I have gone through. So there were more than 30 skin grafts. My mom really counted that, and there was ventilator, feeding tube, and skin grafts were done mostly from scalp and breasts. And there were multiple times when I was almost done for the life. I'm really grateful to the healthcare team because they never gave up, because that's 7 months. I don't know if I can go through the 7 months helping someone in such situation, but they did. They stuck with my parents. I wanted to get back on my feet and get normal. And it was so painful to sit in the wheelchair because everyone around was walking, and me being an athlete and going to karate classes and being physically fit, I felt how am I just sitting on the wheelchair and asking everyone to just push me or get out of the way. So I never thought okay, this is my life, or I'll be just in the wheelchair forever. I felt this would not be the case for me. I want to get up. I want to do everything that I used to do before, and that's the motivation I had. I have 72% surface body area and multiple third-degree burns. My heels and ankles were 50 degrees away from the ankles that the normal person have to walk on the ground. So in order to get better, I have to do the surgeries. My parents were honestly, they were scared, and they were are you able to handle all the surgeries? They were 1 month apart, and those were very serious surgeries, and the feats were better. But I felt again I was naive that I would just start running or start walking when the machines were out. But that wasn't the case, because I hadn't stood up in more than 1 year, so it was difficult. I remember one vivid time when I was stepping with the help of walker. I was moving forward, but there were the tears on the floor when I was walking. So I was walking on my tears. So that's the pain I felt, but I'm so glad that I can walk now. And those days are done. So, yeah.
As you can see, even from that short video clip, Hitaxi is incredibly resilient, she's driven, she's passionate, and despite all that she's been through, she's incredibly positive. While she was going through her surgeries, she recognized that she was just kind of sitting, right? And while many of us would be sitting and thinking and processing and coping, she thought, I think I could go back to my education. And something that became a catalyst to her coming to the United States became a catalyst in her life again. And she was able to lean into that. And I'm incredibly proud to tell you, walk across the stage at her graduation. Only 1 year delayed from her original graduation plan. So if you can imagine, about a 7-month coma, surgeries, recovery, all of these treatments, and only 1 year delayed in her education. I think that we can agree that that's a tremendous accomplishment, and it shows her passion and her resilience as she pursued her education. As Andrea shared at the top of the show tonight, there are many services that many of you in the room may not be aware that ABF provides, and one of those is a scholarship. The MacDonald Wood Scholarship gives burn survivors the opportunity to continue their education without the financial burdens they might be facing. And I'm pleased to tell you that Hitaxi is a multiple-time recipient, and I think that it's easy to see why from her drive and her focus and her determination. And with that, I'd like to invite you to take a look at the final part of her story.
When I got better and went home with my parents, I was curious and kept asking questions like, how did you manage all this? Like, you came to United States, like traveling from Mesa to Phoenix and coming every day and stuff. That's when they introduced me to Arizona Burn Foundation, and they said, there is a foundation here that works for the burn survivors, and they help the families here and there. My parents used to work in India, and now he was not working there, so there was no source of income. And that's when, for the groceries and stuff, ABF used to help my parents, and not just the gas cards and the grocery cards, but the emotional support we got from ABF is like, it's too much, and we could never repay them. I attended the World Burn Congress in October 2023, and the whole trip was sponsored by the Arizona Burn Foundation. My parents also got to visit and attend the World Burn Congress with me. The World Burn Congress is where the burn survivors around the world gather around, and you just meet everyone who has gone through the same journey. There is a support group where we gather around and help everyone and gain the power or the positive confidence that we need. Sometimes that gets lost, and I felt so powerful after attending the World Burn Congress. Being part of the burn survivor community makes me feel like I am not alone, and everyone has gone through the things I am going through or I will be going through. The journey just begins when you are a burn survivor, when you just leave the hospital, because hospital feels like the safest place after the burns, but when you step into the real world with the challenges and the things, you are not prepared for them. It's because of the Arizona Burn Foundation I'm able to gain so much confidence in myself. Whenever I used to feel down, they are here to help me gain my confidence back, think it with a different perspective. They are my support system when I needed them, and they are still there for me whenever I need them. They are just a call or a text away when there's something overwhelming happening in my life, I sometimes tell them, or whenever there's a new life update, okay, I did something new, or I'm driving now. Arizona Bund Foundation is the safe place for me, and I know when I reach out to that community, I'm gonna be happy, and they make sure I'm always comfortable, and they work for the burn survivors, and they care for you so much that their work is to make our lives easier and comfortable with the things we have gone through.
Well, we're honored to have that confident young woman here tonight with us. We ask you to join us in celebrating her healing journey, her drive, her passion, and her bravery in even sharing her story with us. Please help me in welcoming Hitaxi to the stage.